The 53-man roster for the Carolina Panthers has officially been set today for week 1 against Jacksonville here in a week and a half. And there's a lot of surprises, as there usually is every single season, every single offseason around this time. Let's just get right into it, okay? Because I don't want to waste all time. Let's touch on all these moves today, all the cuts that were made yesterday, today, and some of the big surprises in terms of the additions and the stays. First, let's touch on kind of why this was a big cycle of cuts for the second year regime with Dave Canales and Dan Morgan, starting with just because of the fact that there's a lot of young guys on this team that you had to fight against, man. There was veteran players that I'm going to mention here, as y'all kind of know where I'm kind of going with that, against younger players that you're kind of fighting for. Are you going to take the youth, or are you going to take the experience throughout this entire roster, throughout this entire cycle? This front office had to fight that. And you're going to see that throughout the entire roster. Decisions had to be made, right? Decisions had to be made. I like a lot of the decisions that were made. Some of them were iffy, but that's usually how it's going to go when you're making early decisions and you're just trying to find out players you like. When you have 8 receivers that you're kind of going for and have to decide for 7 or maybe even 6, it's going to be tough, right? Obviously, we kept 7, but we cut the veteran Hunter Renfrow, obviously, which I'm going to touch on that here in a second. But when you have guys like that, you have a depth there at certain positions like that, it's going to be hard. You can't keep everybody, as we know. So it was a very interesting thing to see how this front office was going to maneuver that, right? We thought Hunter Renfrow, I thought he was going to be on the team this entire time. I thought last couple of days, especially in preseason, David Moore has really emerged and he's really done a good job. And it's just when he was out there a lot with the twos, once the starters went out and really got a lot of the snaps and made a lot of plays, to be honest with you, he's been a lock for me for a while now. I think he's been a lock for me since after their game 1 of preseason against the Browns. For me, he's been a lock since that game against the Browns in the first preseason game. But was it the right decision to keep David Moore over a guy like Hunter Renfrow? And also we kept Bryson Tremaine as well. So we got Hunter Renfrow, but we kept 7 guys. We kept Jimmy Horn. That was the biggest kind of thing that I did not want to do, was cut Jimmy Horn. But we didn't do that. I'm proud of that. He brings a different skill set. He has insane potential in both special teams and the receiving game with the versatility that he does have at receiver. You kept David Moore. That's the biggest question is, you kept Bryson Tremaine, obviously. Clearly, that was obviously a guy that they wanted to keep because usually I thought it was always going to be 6 guys, 6 or 7. But if you were going to cut one of the guys, it was just going to keep Jimmy Horn. If you told me we're going to keep 7 guys, Bryson Tremaine was not going to be a guy that I thought we were going to keep if it was 7. Okay, just because of the fact that I just did not expect him to make the roster over David Moore because he has the experience with Dave Canales and in the system. And plus, obviously, Hunter Renfrow, he's just a veteran player that you're going to be able to use in a lot of pieces. And he made a lot of plays also in training camp and preseason as well. And the question of, was it the right decision? I'm going to say this. I don't really care, to be honest with you. Hunter Renfrow has not played football in 2 years. Okay, consistently. He hasn't. David Moore has, and he's been effective. Okay. Has he been consistent? No. Has he really been a player that you want to, be out there every single game? No. That's why he's a 6th guy in this room. Hunter Renfrow would have been the same person. Hunter Renfrow, if he would have made a team, would not have been a top 5 receiver on this team. He would have been top 6. He would have been the bottom of the depth chart, just like David Moore. So it makes sense why Dave Canales wanted to keep a guy that has experience in his system and has played. Last year when Bryce came back, he was a big factor in Bryce's return from being benched. That's a fact. Okay, you guys can go watch the Chiefs game, for example. He made big plays, man. He made big plays, believe it or not. A lot of people want to hate on him for whatever reason. I get he's inconsistent. He has dropped passes at times. But in terms of, is this a surprise to me? No, it's not a surprise. It's not. I think after the first game of preseason against the Browns, when you saw he played a lot with the twos and got a lot of the snaps and really got the ball the most take out the first 4 guys in this room, obviously T-Mac, Adam Thielen, XL, and Jalen Coker. After that, he got the most passes and the most balls in the 3 preseason games with Jack Plummer out there and Andy Dalton out there. So it was never a surprise to me. I always thought after that he was going to be a lock, but it was just like, okay, is Hunter Renfrow going to make the team over Jimmy Horn? That was kind of the debate. But now it seems like it was just always going to be Hunter Renfrow was just the odd man out, and it was going to be Bryson Tremaine was just going to be a guy that we just wanted to keep on this roster. And aside that, I did see some people say, and it makes sense because he's an older veteran, he can go on PS, and we might be able to bring him back, because he's an older player, and he can go to practice squad, obviously, and no one's really going to want to pick him up because he's older, hasn't played football in forever, right? But Bryson Tremaine would be a player that he's younger, so a lot of teams might look at him in a certain way and say, we're going to scoop him up and hopefully take a chance on him. So in that sense, maybe it's smart and maybe he is a Panther here in the middle of the season. If injuries happen, we will see. But in terms of was it the right decision, I don't care. I don't. because David Moore in the preseason proved again that he's a very good player in the system on the bottom of the depth chart. Can he be a starter? No, he can't. But I'm saying in terms of being a 6 to 7 receiver on this team, I'm okay with it because Hunter Renfrow was going to be the same thing, the same exact spot on this roster, the same exact spot in this room. He was going to be the 6th, 7th guy, and you just had to decide: do I want the guy that hasn't played football in 2 years, or a guy that has been in my system for 2 years and has, at least when he needed to come in, make some sort of impact for Bryce and his return last season? So that's my thoughts on the receiver room when it comes to 53-man roster. I have no complaints about it. Hunter Renfrow, a lot of people want to complain about him making the roster. It is what it is. People are going to complain about everything. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. David Moore is a 6th player in this room for a reason. There's a reason why Bryson Tremaine is over him, because clearly the staff likes him more as a young player over David Moore. Simple. Okay? Simple. Doesn't matter that Hunter Renfrow did not make the team over David Moore. There might be other plans ahead, as I stated, about the practice squad with Hunter Renfrow. It just depends on. But right now, the initial 53-man roster with this room, it doesn't matter. Let's move on. Next was tight ends. I did have us keeping 3. Tommy Tremble should be back here soon, maybe even start week 1. JT, Tommy Tremble, Mitchell Evans are obviously your 3 that I knew we were going to keep. And then we also kept James Mitchell as well. It was interesting, but the way it kind of shaped out, and we cut some guys on defense that made sense. Again, this overall, the overall part of this shaping of the 53-man roster this year, I like it. Okay, I do. I like it. A lot of thought was put into it, obviously. Again, people can have their thoughts about the receiver room, why they like it, why they don't like it. I think it's fine. It doesn't matter. Keeping James Mitchell, I don't think really mattered that much. I think you could have kept an extra spot open there, really, to maybe keep an extra offensive lineman, because you have only 9 right now. And if you wanted to keep, injuries to Chandler Zavala right now and Damian Lewis, if you wanted to keep a Jarrett Kingston, you could have. Okay, but we decided not to. We only have 9 there. And offensive line depth is lacking, and there's injuries. So that's why I would have preferred, you just keep 3 tight ends and add an extra offensive lineman. You could have done that. That is something I would have done, but they didn't do it, and it's okay. I think they just kept James Mitchell there because they like what they see, and they just want to have an extra guy just in case injury happens, because this is a very injury-prone room. Tommy Tremble's injured. JT got injured last year. Just an extra tight end there in your room if you need it. Okay, for the edge rushers, pretty basic. DJ Johnson did make the roster. So did Thomas Incoom. DJ Johnson was interesting because I think a lot of us thought he was not going to make the roster. Same as me. It was kind of like he just hasn't made an impact since he got drafted in the 3rd round in 2023. And this offseason made no impact, no noise at all. It's just another one of those players that you could have replaced for another one. Again, the depth purposes, I guess it makes sense. For the outside linebacker position, overall, I don't really like the DJ Johnson keeping, because again, it's just like he's in his 3rd season. He has done nothing the first 2 years. You could have gave that extra spot up, for example, for another offensive lineman. Okay, I would rather prefer to keep James Mitchell than DJ Johnson, for example. Right? Thomas Incoom makes sense. He was out there a lot in preseason, made some sort of impact. He's there for depth, but DJ Johnson, he doesn't even give you depth, bro. He's just an extra body that's just, I think, a wasted spot on your roster for, an offensive line that needs depth there on the interior and on the outside. So for the edge rushers, it was very interesting to see that DJ Johnson didn't make the team, but it is what it is. Middle linebackers, a lot of people's guys, Bam Martin Scott, did make the team. You have 4 guys here: Christian Roseboom, Trevor Wallace, Clonus Sherrillis, and Bam Martin Scott. So this room is still very underwhelming. It's not a good room. I'm going to be very interested to see how we do in this room. Obviously, throughout the season, Clonus Sherrillis has got a lot of time since he's been here in Carolina because of injuries or whatever. The room has not been good. Don't be shocked if there's a rotation with those first 3 guys, because again, it's just the linebackers aren't good, and injury will probably happen. It's football. So you're going to see Clonus Sherrillis and Bam Martin Scott. We probably kept him for an extra body and a good depth piece, I think. That is a good depth piece that I'm not mad at for you keeping if you're the Carolina Panthers. That was a good move from the front office. Cornerbacks. This was interesting because a lot of people, including myself, saw Shamar Bartholomew in preseason and said this guy sucks and he's not very good. Obviously, the experience factor, being in this scheme last year and getting time last year, made a argument to why he should be on the roster, this upcoming season. It was between him or Caleb Evans. Simple. Okay, you knew JC, Mike Jackson, Shaw, and Corey Thornton was going to make the team. Corey Thornton, another great pickup, by the way, mid-training camp from this front office. I'm going to just say it right there. Another great pickup from this front office mid-training camp. He's going to be a stud this year. I really think so. I really think he can really be the second best corner on the outside with JC. I really do. Obviously, it's Mike Jackson right now, but you guys know how I feel about Mike Jackson. He's very inconsistent. He's just not a very good corner, in my opinion, week to week. Corey Thornton has a chance to really make noise out there and become the second best corner on the outside next to JC. Obviously, Shaw is your slot guy, so he's not going to be put there. Caleb Evans was better than Shamar in preseason and in training camp. It made sense why we kept him. It was just an extra body for the corner position. It makes sense. You need 5 at least. You could have kept 6 if you really wanted to. MJ Devonshire, obviously we had him in the beginning of training camp. I wish he was still on the roster. It makes sense why he wasn't. He got injured, but I know another team picked him up a couple days ago. But he's another player that I really wish we would have kept. Simply put, because he's a very talented player. He's kind of like a Corey Thornton, a young player that has great size at their position and can really make an impact at their young age. But it is what it is. Getting Corey Thornton makes up for it. If you don't have Corey Thornton on this roster, this position is trash. Okay, it's still underwhelming, but it's awful because you just don't have an extra body there on the outside that you can move with. You're basically going to be rotating a Caleb Evans with them. But now you have Corey Thornton, a guy that at least has proven in stretch of training camp and preseason together to at least you can be comfortable with it. Safeties, Trayvon Moore, Nick Scott, Lathan Ransom, and Damani Richardson. The only question I have with this position is when are we going to see Nick Scott be benched? Like how long into the season? Is it going to be 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 8 weeks? He should not be the starter for long. I think he should be there until Lathan Ransom and Damani Richardson get their opportunity and go out there and prove themselves, because I do think both of them right now are better than Nick Scott and will be better than Nick Scott when they get their opportunities. But you guys know head coaches in professional leagues love to hate on young players. Even though their veteran that they are praising and love is completely trash, they will still find a way to give them the starting nod because they're a veteran and they have experience in this league, even though the experience is not good experience and they've sucked their entire career. But I just don't want Nick Scott starting. He's trash, and he's going to be trash again in week 1 when you have to go against BTJ and Travis Hunter potentially. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. I want a guy like a Lathan Ransom who's going to be, playing the box, be just that physically insane safety, and then or Damani Richardson, who is a ball hawk and can, playing coverage and be that really, really good free safety for you in the back end. So, and obviously Ryan Fitzgerald did make the kicker position. I think that was kind of made known after preseason. After the second game, we kind of knew he was hitting, skinny posts. He was hitting in game. It made sense why he made the roster. He's our kicker. Hopefully it goes well throughout the season, but he is our kicker, our starting kicker. So what are my overall thoughts on this 53-man roster? Again, I think I liked a lot of the depth pieces, right? I like the Ben Martin Scott, the Caleb Evans, those type of pieces that they decided to keep over some. I do like. One I don't like, obviously, is DJ Johnson. I feel like you could have used that spot for another offensive lineman because injuries are going to happen. You're thin on guard right now with, Chandler Zavala and Damon Lewis just got injured. You're thin on guard. Jared Kingston would have been an outstanding addition for depth-wise, but you didn't want to do it. It makes sense. It's okay. I just think the edge position is fine with depth. I just think the starters are unknown right now. That's it. I think the depth is fine. Like if you have to rotate, you have 4 guys that can at least 3. Pat Jones I don't like, but you have 3 guys that are talented and young. I don't think you needed to have a 6th guy here, but it makes sense, especially because DJ Johnson just doesn't make an impact at all. So yes, I guess it's depth, but is it meaningful depth? I don't think so. So those are my thoughts. I think it was a very solid kind of outing from this front office, second-year regime. They did their thing. They shaped this team, and this is a team we're going to be trotting out in week 1 against Jacksonville, and I'm very excited. I'm going to be coming out with a video tomorrow probably. I'm either going to go live tomorrow or make a video tomorrow. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I'm going to, it might be film. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but we're getting close to the season, man. After this week, I'm going to try to do my final prediction next Tuesday. So I'm going to try to do. Try to drop my final prediction, record prediction, everything. If we make the playoffs, go down the line with playoffs, everything that y'all want to see, I'm going to be dropping next week when it comes to Jags and it comes to just overall the season stuff, man. I'm excited. We got about 10 days left until the season starts. And if you guys are new, subscribe for me. We're on the road to 1K. We're about 90 away from that. And I can't wait to hit it. So if you guys are new, subscribe for me. With that being said, I'll see you guys next video. Peace.